So, I just finally watched the two latest episodes of the One Piece anime and wow, I can't believe that the anime is genuinely incredible now, with relatively good pacing along with jaw-dropping animation on a very frequent basis. Even though the anime started to have incredibly well animated episodes in Wano, the consistency was pretty damn bad, and the stark quality difference between the episodes was extremely noticeable. We'd get an insanely well animated episode every few months before going back to countless weeks of episodes with the snail's pacing and no animation highlights whatsoever. The quality got a bit more consistent as we approached the climax of Wano, with stuff like Zoro and Sanji's fights along with Gear 5 Luffy. But I think the One Piece team over at Toei Animation have finally perfected the formula for consistently great episodes during the Egghead arc. Almost 20 episodes out of the 41 episodes of Egghead have insane Sakuga moments that will leave you speechless. For example, I don't think even a single manga reader expected even the low priority fights like the one with S-Hawk to have genuinely insane action animation sequences that will make you instantly orgasm. I believe all of this quality is thanks to Toei's incredible planning and scheduling for these episodes 5 to 6 months in advance, along with lots of incredibly talented freelance animators willing to work on the One Piece anime. And that's why I wanna give a massive shout out to the One Piece team and everyone working on the Egghead anime. The pacing in the Egghead arc has also been way better than Wano, mostly thanks to Oda's faster paced writing style for this arc and frequent perspective changes to different parts of the world to keep things fresh. Off the top of my head, I can only recall 2 or 3 episodes that felt like they were dragging on compared to almost every other episode during the Wano and Dressrosa arc. The average quality and direction for the low priority episodes have also improved in this arc, which makes the weekly experience way more enjoyable. And finally, I wanna talk about the 2 latest episodes, 1127 and 1128, which set an insanely high standard for the anime, both visually and what the story content means for the future of the series. Luffy vs Kizaru in 1127 is the third time we see Luffy fighting in Gear 5, and this is easily the craziest fight in One Piece so far. Seeing multiple light clones of Kizaru trying to attack Luffy inside of a cloud that's been turned into rubber is just pure insanity and One Piece at its peak. Oda is truly one of a kind for giving such an insane transformation to Luffy when we're at the end game. It makes every single fight scene so unpredictable and keeps them very unique. This episode also had Zoro vs Awakened Lucci, which is one of the best choreographed fights in One Piece recently, and as a massive Zoro fan, I always love the animators casting him up. As crazy as Luffy vs Kizaru was, this remained as a massive highlight from the episode because it's way more grounded and more easily readable. Kizaru redirecting himself as he's about to fall into the ocean was also one of the coolest moments of the episode for me. This scene looked absolutely insane. But I was left completely awestruck by the second half of the episode, which was almost 10 minutes of uninterrupted Sakuga overload. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize just how insane it is to have uninterrupted buttery smooth animation for such a long time, with those crazy ass storyboards paired with insanely good drawing quality. This is easily one of the best animated One Piece episodes so far, and the only 2 episodes that even come close to this level of raw animation are 1062 with Zoro vs King and 1074 with Luffy vs Kaido. My only issue with this episode is that they definitely overuse the Looney Tunes sound effects. I completely understand their purpose, but this episode felt like they were jamming them into the episode with no rhyme or rhythm whenever Gear 5 Luffy was on screen. One Piece already has a sound design problem, but it is really noticeable in this episode specifically. And then we have episode 1128, which is just as good as the previous episode, but in a slightly different way. Luffy vs Kizaru is definitely better in terms of raw animation, but the direction in this episode really stands out and makes this legendary moment of the story feel as impactful as it should. It's been close to 1,000 episodes since the introduction of the Gorosei, and they're finally making their move. The five elders at the top of the government finally get directly involved with the Straw Hats, and it starts with a demonic ritual as we see Saturn's true form appear from a pentagram. And Oda, the king of foreshadowing, strikes again, because if you recall the introduction of the elders in episode 151, their room was filled with pentagrams. This is something Oda has very clearly planned since the very early stages of the series, and it's genuinely insane to see it finally paying off. What is the true identity of the elders? How long have they been alive for? Do they have devil fruit powers? Or is it something more sinister and demonic? There are so many questions that arise from Saturn's landfall in Egghead, and the fact that we're already at this point in the story truly makes it feel like we've reached the end game for real. I loved the ominous and constant cutaways, going from Luffy and Zoro's fight to Saturn, slowly walking with dramatic music. His transformation sequence was absolutely phenomenal and also reminded me of human transmutation from Full Metal Alchemist, which is something I really love. And finally, my favorite moment of the episode has to be Bonnie's reaction to Saturn and attacking him. This moment just really hits different after reading Kuma's backstory. The small flashes of the backstory leading up to Bonnie stabbing Saturn with incredible animation and breathtaking art is just absolute cinema. And that's pretty much all I have to say for the new and improved Egghead anime adaptation of the One Piece anime. I've currently been catching up to the One Piece manga after taking a long ass break, so comment down below if you guys want to see a video of me talking about the Egghead arc after I'm done reading it. With all that being said though, leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video and consider subscribing for more anime content. Peace.